I believe in values. I believe that when you hold in your heart a truth about right and wrong, fairness, those kinds of things, that value means something, that it's worth something. Maybe not monetarily, but it's worth something to you, to your soul, to the way you work as a person. And at times, over the last 15 years or so, since I finally matured in my mid-30s, mid to late 30s, we'll put it that way, I developed a lot of very strong values and ideology that I refuse to back down from. I was always pushy when it came to my professional life. I was always high-minded. I was always pushing for the underdog. I love underdogs. I love the underdog story. I think that's kind of me in a nutshell. But I think about values often when I watch the news or when I even interact with other people these days. And I don't know that we have values worth valuing, generally speaking. And I guess I need to expound on that. So let's do it. I never seem to say welcome back to Trent Takes On anymore. Like I forgot about it. It's out of my brain because there's so much going on and there's so much chaos in the world. And you just forget things. I'm having I don't know how to phrase this. I'm having a bit of a row with the school that my kids go to over a field trip destination. And I was hesitant to even talk about this one because it's been going on for a couple weeks now. And to make a long story short, I don't know how far into this I want to get. The destination in question is owned by someone who posts his blog on the same destination's website. So basically it's a private place where the owner posts his blog on their website. So when you go to hey, see what my kids are going to do at this place, you can easily discover his blog. And his blog is loaded with conservative conspiracy theories, anti-trans blog posts. This guy is an insurrector. He was at the January 6th insurrection. Apparently he didn't go inside. He didn't get arrested, but very much a J6 truther, very much a big lie proponent. And this is the person that's in charge of the business where you're going to send your kids. Now, my beef, of course, is with the principal, who has greenlit this this field trip. And the more I look into this guy, I'm keeping this as vague as I can on purpose. The more I look into this guy, the more I find that he has been operating this private business for decades. It's a multi-generational business. He's been accepting school tours on his property for years and years. And over the last 8 years, I think the first occurrence was 7 years ago or something like that, school districts have been canceling their field trips with him. They've been going there for years and years and years. And then they find out that this guy has this very odious culture warrior mindset, ideology, value thing. And so the schools have decided they don't want to do business with him. And so The school doesn't do business with him, and then he sues the schools because he claims that they're taking it out on his business, that he he uses his First Amendment rights. Now, here goes the problems, right? He's in ongoing litigation with multiple school districts over canceling with him. And it's just a situation it's gross. It's just gross on its face that this person who is willfully instigating these fights believes that he has some sort of right to an unwritten contract that people will continue to use his business, even though they're not contracted to do so. In spite of the fact that his views are seen as, well, relatively odious, to be fair. And they are inconsistent with most school districts' codes of conduct and the things that contractors with said school districts can say in public. Basically, you're not supposed to drag a bunch of politics into this situation. So I tried to convince this. When we found out about this, of course, we pulled our kid off the field trip list. We're not the only ones. There are others. To make a long story short, I went in and I confronted the principal about this. And the principal basically said, we can't take a side, because to take a side would be to show our politic or to become political. And my pushback on that was disagree. When you are looking at someone who espouses fascist philosophies, fascist beliefs, discriminatory beliefs that go against our values, by continuing to spend money at his business, you are supporting him and you're taking that side. I don't remember who's the quote's from, but neutrality hurts the oppressed. It never hurts the oppressor. So if somebody out there is pulling for, is standing on the side of, we need to separate transgendered athletes from regular athletes, even though this is, I'll get to this in a second, even though it's not exactly a widespread problem, to the point where they feel it necessary to repeat that over and over again. You're by remaining neutral and continuing to spend money with that person who espouses those beliefs, you are utilizing your funds, your money, your free speech, according to Citizens United in the Supreme Court of 2013. You are using your funds to promote that person's ideology that he's promoting. Or at the very least, you're supporting him in his continued pursuit of this outcome. So, the more you dig, the more you understand. This guy basically blackmails school districts into continuing to do business with him. Because if you stop doing business with him, he sues you because he's got a First Amendment right to say whatever he wants. Now, here's the thing. The First Amendment, not absolute, we know that. There are a few things that are not protected. But all of the things he's saying technically are protected. They are. And I wouldn't take away his First Amendment right to say whatever the fuck he wants to say. You can do that. I can say whatever the fuck I want to say. That's the way it works. Now, here's the other part of it. You can absolutely say basically whatever the fuck you want. But you do not have any protection from the backlash to the things that you say, if they are odious, if they are beyond the pale. If you stand in front of your store and scream at the top of your lungs racial slurs, nobody's going to go in your store. You can't sue those people for choosing not to spend their money with you because you're a bigot. That's their choice. You don't have a guarantee of those people's businesses just because you've got a First Amendment. First Amendment right. This person is also a certified by admission Christian nationalist. Well, I hate to break this to you, my friend, but freedom of religion in the First Amendment is freedom from religion in the First Amendment. Nobody can make rules based off of their religion that other people have to follow. And that's what this guy's espousing at great length. When in reality, he doesn't even understand the teachings of Christ anyway, because it's fairly obvious that he's being horribly discriminatory. Which I hate to bring this up one more time. But the most woke motherfucker that's ever walked this planet would have been Jesus Christ. All right? We're all God's children, right? All of us. There were no asterisks. There were no ampersand. There was no exceptions, no footnotes to exclude people. Nope. Every soul. Right? I digress. So, what do I do now is the question. Do I go to the school board? Do I go to the superintendent? Do I follow the regular chain of command and say, this particular field trip destination doesn't comply with the district's standing on equality and inclusion? Or do I take it even higher? Do I take it to the state, to my state assemblyman? Do I take it to people who actually have power to make moves here to change the way we deal with this dude? Or do I just let it the fuck go? Most of the people in my life are just like, let it the fuck go. Because it is stressful. It is annoying. And it makes my skin crawl. But at the same time, it reminds me over and over again about values and how important it is that our values be respected, and that in the world of money, in the world of taxpayer dollars, it's not like I'm asking them to change the field trips to go see some bastion of socialist progressive thinking. I'm not asking them to go anywhere. I'm asking them not to support this fascistic bullhorn of litigation that is this dude. You know, there are museums that desperately need funding. They need help. And if you take the thousands of dollars you were giving to this private person and his company and instead invest them in a museum, think about the difference that can make, not just for the kids that go on the field trip, but for every kid within traveling distance of that museum. I'm frustrated and exhausted already by constantly having to speak out against a new presidential regime of criminals and fascists and all around bad people who continue to do things that are wildly unpopular, largely illegal, and they destabilize not just our country, but the entire world with their actions. That in and of itself is exhausting. But then there's something right here in my life that I'm choosing to try to do something about. Because, look, you can say whatever the fuck you want. But taxpayers shouldn't have to pay you, even if you're providing a service, to espouse such nasty, nasty philosophies. We're supposed to be better than this. I keep saying that over and over again. Humans are supposed to look at each other and see just humans. We're supposed to see, oh, it's another person like me with thoughts and dreams and fears, all the same emotions that I go through, the same past that I had, the same future that I've got. We're supposed to look at other humans and see in them us. We're supposed to see ourselves. And if you don't see that in someone else, you don't want to be around them. And you question people who do want to be around people like that because it feels crazy. I'm going to shut this door. It popped open there. It popped open. I don't know why. My not climate control garage is very warm today. It's a very warm day. I cannot wait to try this during the summer. That's not true. I can totally wait. I'm a red bucket guy. I'm red bucket and my trash grabby tool. I don't even know what to call the trash grabby tool, but when I get frustrated, I take my red bucket out and I try to clean up a little bit. I do some little thing that I think is a good deed. It's something that, something that's good for the future. And I don't know what percentage of this cat's revenue comes from school field trips, but after hearing how much the one that my kid was supposed to go on cost, it's a lot of money. And if he's getting multiple field trips from every school in every district that goes out to, I mean, we're talking enough money to operate the whole thing. And, sorry, the door popped up again. I think my door needs fixing. I don't think it's working properly. And if he's propping up his entire business on taxpayer school money, it just is gross. So I'm going to fight this fight in whatever way I choose going forward. I haven't decided which path I'm going to choose yet, except that I can't just let it go. You want to say whatever you want? Go for it. Go for it. You want to remove your blog from your website so that kids down the road, kids 2-3 years from now think, oh, well, I had such a great time at this place. And I wonder if it's still open. And then they go to your website and then they go to your blog and then they read about your stance on these, all this conspiracy nonsense that this guy posts, and they start reading it. And then what? They take out their, teenage frustrations on weaker kids who they see as effeminate. You know what I mean? Anyway, I just can't with a good conscience let it go. And for the record, other school districts have said no more to this guy. And it just raises the question, why does the state continue to put up with it? So maybe the right path is to go to the state administrators and find out what the deal is. Maybe there is a vetting process that each place needs to go through, and that their forward-facing arm, which would include your website, should be honest about who you are and what you do. Or, at the very least, be non-political. You know what I mean? Because when I read this guy's blog, it's not even honest. It's hyper-political. It's conservative conspiratorial garbage that gets people hurt. But I digress. That's my problem. I'll let you guys know what happens, if anything. I mean, I could take this to the next level and then be just turned away. And then what do I do? Then what? I don't know. It's not going to be a very exciting story if that's where it ends, is it? I don't have any money to sue anybody. I'm not a lawyer. I have the time, but I don't have the the bar standing. And I wouldn't have standing in this situation anyway. Probably. I don't know. The state would, because that's state funds. See what I'm saying? So anyway, I think it was the trans kids in sports thing that set me off, because it reminds me of something that in this last election, conservatives or Republicans, I'd hate to lump all conservatives in with Republicans anymore, because there's like the MAGA Republicans, and then there's the kind of like Reagan Republican. Anyway, they're all on board with each other now. They're all in bed together. But they successfully ran on making trans rights like the biggest problem in our schools. And their success in making trans kids more dangerous than school shootings is beyond me, and it blows my mind, and I fucking hate it. But that's what happened, and now there's a group of people in this country who are absolutely being demonized for just trying to be their authentic self. So, ouch. I hate that. We should all hate that, because that's not okay. Everything starts somewhere. Like the smallest pebble dropped into a pond will eventually create ripples, or will create ripples that eventually cover the entire pond. It's that. It's a great. I remember from Bruce Lee, but I butchered that quote for the record. You drop a pebble from your hand. The drop a pebble from your hand speech. It always starts somewhere. Bad starts somewhere. Good starts somewhere. I heard somebody say that courage is contagious. So is cowardice. So, for everybody out there still with me, thank you. Bless you. I'm going to keep it kind of fairly short today. I'll be back next week with a new microphone, which is ordered. I don't know if I'm going to use it or not, because it's the exact same microphone that I've got now. And why would I do something like that, you might ask? The answer is there's another project coming from old Trent here. I'm going to be sitting down and having conversations with a good friend of mine, and we are going to try to rediscover the lost art of conversation. And sometimes that will be super interesting, and sometimes it will be fun. And if it's not either one of those things, we won't put it on the feed. So new podcast coming. We've got a date set for the end of next week to sit down and rifle one out, and we'll see what happens. So you'll be having to hear me not only try to remember to tell you thank you for listening to Trent Takes On. Thank you again. But I'll also be promoting the new show that I'll be a part of, and there'll be some cross promotion from that side to this, and so on and so forth. Anyway, I'm paying for it all anyway, so I might as well, right? Here's the difference. You're not spending taxpayer money to keep me afloat. Thank you all so very much for your time and your ears, your thoughts. I truly appreciate your attention. It's the most valuable thing in the world these days, attention. So I do appreciate that. I want you all to have a lovely remainder of this day. And spring is upon us. Enjoy your springtime. It's a beautiful time of year in the Northern Hemisphere. In the Southern Hemisphere, it is fall right now. And this is all very obvious stuff. Enjoy spring. It's a lovely time of rebirth. And remember, pay attention to things. Please pay attention. And above all, be good humans, because it's the very least that we can do. Until next time, thank you. Love you.